Hi everybody, I'm JD Blackrose. My cats are back here in their cat trees, so you might get to see them poke up. There they are, taking baths, poking their little ears up. I'm going to read to you from Wish Magic, which is the next installment in the Summoner's Mark series. So the first one is Demon Kissed, then Demon Kissed, Fae Crossed, Hellbound, then Samhain's Bargain, which is an online-only novella, and now this one, Wish Magic, and I really hope you enjoy it. This is from chapter 3. Gregory Adamo strolled into the shop like a conquering hero. Always impeccably dressed, he wore a gray-green wool pinstripe suit, a light blue dress shirt, and a deep gray tie. A sliver of shirt sleeve poked out at his wrist, and the pants broke perfectly above simple black derby dress shoes. He sported both a mustache and a beard, and a silver Movado watch. "You dressed up for little old me?" I said, raising an eyebrow. "The watch is a nice touch." He glanced at it. "Just one of a dozen I own." I sprained my eyes rolling them so hard. "Well, excuse me." He leaned on the counter with a chinky grin. "What if I don't excuse you?" I had no time to play around, so I didn't rise to the bait. "Well, you have to, because I have something you want." I flashed my teeth at him, barely holding my cool. My instinct was to lash out and pepper him with questions. I wanted to demand answers, but my experience with this slick mobster told me a more subtle approach was needed. Technically, he was a reform mobster, or at least mostly reform, trying to reform. Better than he was, but not quite there. Old habits died hard. Plus Lucifer, yes, the Lucifer, had targeted him over Halloween, trying to get Gregory to make a series of bad decisions and doom his soul to hell's tender mercies. Lucifer failed, thanks to Gregory's own inner fortitude and the efforts of several people, including me, a coven of white witches, and Lord Samhain, the Celtic spirit godling of All Hallows Eve. Thinking about that night made me break out in a sweat. Gregory rubbed his right hand over his left hand's knuckles. "You received my package?" he asked without a trace of irony, but then he heard the sentence in his head and blushed an unusual shade of maroon. I didn't mean that the way it came out. He cleared his throat while I stood there amused, not giving him an inch. He scratched the back of his neck. "Where is it?" he finally asked. I jerked my thumb to the area behind me. The narrow store stretched long, with a corridor in the center and shelves, boxes, and objets d'art on the right. My office lay just beyond them. The waiting area was immediately on the left, across from the cash register counter. Behind that was a table with an actual crystal ball. Madame Francesca, the original owner of the shop, had been a medium before her death. She'd conducted readings there, and I hadn't yet dismantled it. I turned to walk to the back, gesturing for him to follow. "Gregory," I said, starting simply, "what can you tell me about the crystal import wars?" We walked down the central hallway, passing the public restroom, a kitchenette, and a storage area. Physically, the shop shouldn't extend its full length. The rear alley wasn't materially that far away, but the shop seemed to stretch as much as was required, similar to a Dungeons and Dragons bag of holding, or Hermione's purse. "Ah," he replied, "someone's been reading the papers." "Someone," I said, not turning around, "got a visit from a member of the Mage Council today. This mage was worried about corrupted crystals in the marketplace." "This crystal isn't corrupted." We arrived at my little office and I waved my hand to the open box. "I believe you, but do you know what or who is corrupting the other ones? The mage indicated that you are importing quite a few." He shrugged, sloughing off my question like an old skin, and glued his eyes to the crystal. He took a shuddering breath and reached out a single index finger to touch the tip. As he did, he closed his eyes and pressed his lips together. "It vibrates," I said. "I know," he replied with a seriousness I didn't expect. "What is it?" He finally looked at me. "Just a pretty thing from Egypt. Bullshit. I'm telling the truth. I shook my head. Yes, but you are leaving things out. It is a pretty thing from Egypt, but there's something else going on. He eyed me. Why do you say that? Oh, Gregory, why do you bother evading my questions? You know I'm going to dig until I find the answers. I put my hands on my hips. It vibrates and then heats up. It's from a protected area in the Middle East. You shouldn't even have this crystal. It's illegal. He waggled his hand. It's morally questionable. I threw my hands in the air. No, it's not. You are the most stubborn man I've ever met. Given what we just went through in October, the words morally questionable shouldn't even leave your lips. I paced away from him and leaned against my narrow closet. Time to try a different tactic. The mage implied someone was stealing your cargo. I told you that myself. He stroked the crystal again with a lone finger and shuddered at the vibration. It's not a secret. Who is stealing from you? I don't know. He packed the bubble wrap back in the box. But I suspect Anastasia Andino. Why would she do that? His mouth twisted in fury. To mess with me. To what end? I don't know. That's what the Andinos do. I walked closer and poked him in the chest. That's what Philippe and Mimi did, not what you and Anastasia are supposed to be doing. Well, it's hard for a leopard to change its spots. He touched the tip of the crystal yet again, his eyes round in wonder. Are you talking about her? I prodded him again. Or you? Stop jabbing me, he said, mildly annoyed. He turned his eyes to meet mine. Both, I guess. I'm not jabbing, I'm touching. You're not just touching. We sounded like kindergartners. This is what Gregory Adamos did to me, turned me into a child. My voice grew hard. Listen, I'm connecting the dots here, and I'm not liking where it's taking me. Crystals are being imported in unprecedented numbers. You are one of the people importing them. This one seems to be special. It acts weird, and it comes from an unusual place. I was indeed looking for this particular crystal, but I couldn't find it through normal means. He brushed non-existent lint off his tie. I was, regrettably, forced to hire an expensive consultant. He sniffed and tugged at his shirt sleeve. What does this have to do with you? I curled my fingers in frustration. It makes me think that you and someone else, maybe Anastasia, were both looking for this specific crystal. He looked smug. Maybe. I gestured to the Egyptian crystal. What does it do? He started taping the box back up. Why do you think it does anything? Maybe it is simply rare. Because I know you, Gregory. I know how you think and how you behave. You seek power, not decoration. There's no way this crystal doesn't do something important. He leaned down to collect packing peanuts from the floor. I'll let you figure it out. My ire grew. His constant deflection ensured that I became more determined to find out what he was hiding. If this crystal had anything to do with the corrupted ones, I wasn't letting Gregory out of my shop. His shop. Whatever. I grabbed the box with both hands and pulled it toward me. Sorry, Gregory, but you can't have the crystal until you explain what it is and why you want it. Dangerous crystals are hitting the streets, and if you or this crystal are involved, I am duty-bound to end it. Gregory seized the box, trying to take it from me. This is my property, Rebecca. Nothing I'm doing is corrupting crystals. This one is mine, though, and I'll be damned if I let you keep it from me. Damning is exactly what Lucifer wanted from you in October. Literal damnation, and one wrong step puts you back on that path. What is wrong with you? Why is this crystal so important? He yanked the box, but I held on, grabbing the open top flaps. Just be honest and tell me. Stop it, he glared at me. It's mine. Why I want it is none of your business. I tugged, he pulled, and rip. The box tore in two.